Well, you said it best. I mean, they had a lot of weapons, and they were on fire. And you run into that some nights, and they were a lot better than we were on game night. And the thing with us is every moment's a teaching moment for us right now. And we're going to quickly move past Iowa State. We got to go take on number 1 Baylor next. Doesn't get any easier. And a couple of the takeaways from that game is just the toughness in an environment that is very energetic and lively. One of the better environments on the road in the Big 12 in terms of atmosphere for the home team. And be able to handle that and to perform at a higher level is probably the first game all year where we just couldn't find enough toughness to really battle and stay in the game. And again, credit to Iowa State. I mean, they were on fire. They shot 52% from the three-point line, and they have 7 people on their team that can hit it positions 1 through 5. They're a very good team. I mean, they're in the top 25 for a reason, and I expect them to probably advance in the tournament.
Coach, you kind of touched on there. Every game you can obviously learn from win, loss, or anything, but a game like that, which is the outcome is more one side, do you move on quicker from that game than you would other ones about learning from it and focusing on the next game?
We will move on a little quicker because, in many ways it wasn't our night. And, again, really the first time all year for that. So we're gonna refocus, regroup, and we have a nice home stretch coming up that we're really looking forward to as we get into next week, and opportunity for us to get some of those teams that were really close that we played on the road. Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, 2 to 3 possession games, all of them on the road, and we're really looking forward to getting those teams back here in our house.
Coach, you played Baylor a couple weeks ago. How much of an advantage is it the fact that you've already played them this season and you've already kind of seen how things match up?
Well, they're number 1 in the nation for a reason. They have multiple weapons, and they go deep into their bench. And the interesting thing about when we played them, we took care of their starting lineup pretty well in terms of our defense and how we wanted to play them. It was their bench that hurt us. They ended up getting 40 points from their bench. 2 of their bench players scored really big in that game. So the fact that we did just play them recently and so forth, I think, deeper you get in, you're scouted more, they're scouted more. So I think, both teams have a lot more information at this point, and, they're definitely going to be a tough opponent. They're returning home. I think this is our first home game since they moved to number 1. And I'm sure it'll be a great atmosphere at their place. So, again, it's an opportunity to go compete. We competed well with their starters. We got to compete well against their entire team this time.
Sydney went, I think, 4 of 6 behind the arc against Iowa State, 19 points, a career high for her. What do you like about the way she was able to shoot the 3 there, and then how do you plan to use her against Baylor?
Yeah, well, one of the things we've been talking about a lot is on the perimeter, you've got to knock down open shots at this level. Everybody we're playing is doing that. And Sydney's one of those people that we look for to knock down the open 3. She's been doing that well the last couple of games. So for her, it's about consistency. And she always has the green light. That's not the issue. It's just being consistent, knocking that down. We need a couple more people to step up and do that. But last 2 games, she shot very well for us, and that's exactly what we want her to do.
Coach, where's the belief that obviously one of your core beliefs is the three-point line, what that can really do in a game? When the team saw what they just did against a team like Texas that's really talented, highly ranked, and that first quarter, that first half, the threes were falling, how can that continue into a game like a game against Baylor, who they're not as much a three-point shooting team, how you can use that to win the game?
Yeah, well, it definitely is a large part of our philosophy and how we want to play. We have been very inconsistent from the three-point line. When we're hitting them, you're in games, and there's a reason. It's funny how you have a little extra energy to play defense when the ball's going through the basket, and it's always nice and fun. So, again, for us, the word is consistency. It's just been too up and down from the three-point line, but if we can get consistent out there, it certainly gives us another weapon because we have the bigs inside. But what's happening in a lot of these games is they're getting double and triple teamed inside, and they're daring our guards to shoot, and they've got to be able to step up and knock those shots down for us.
Coach, just from your perspective as somebody who's spent a lot of time in college women's basketball, as someone who believes a lot in it, can you speak to Baylor and what they've done to kind of elevate college women's basketball in the Big 12?
Yeah, well, they're the benchmark right now, and multiple Big 12 titles in a row, and then they're moving to number 1. It's a big deal for our conference that they moved to number 1. I mean, everybody in our conference benefits from that, and it's great. You know, we have the 3 teams in the top 25 right now. You're certainly always rooting for one another on a national scale, conference-wise, because it helps everybody. So I think it is a big deal for our conference to have the number 1 team in the nation. It really promotes everybody, even from a recruiting standpoint, to know that you've got the number 1 team in the nation playing in your league.
I think more than anything, we gotta hustle harder. I mean, our defense, we gotta lock in better to the game plan. We gotta know where shooters are. I mean, that was a big key for us against Iowa State. We didn't execute well, so we gotta come back out punching next game.
Zuri, what was the message that Coach gave you guys in the locker room?
Basically, just to go off of what Sydney said, there's so much that goes into a scout and a game plan. And when it's given to us, we have to be able to study it and prepare for the opponent that we're going against. And I feel like we didn't do that to the best of our ability at all. We have to be able to execute scouts and be able to do it at a high level, because this is big girl basketball. And when we're not doing what is basically given to us and presented to us, then that's why we have losses the way we did.
This can be for both of you. Kind of going off that is, obviously, you know, there's certain things you have to work on after a game like Iowa State, but can it be encouraging in a way because you know there are, because after a close run or something, you may think there's just like tiny tweaks or something, but after a game like that, does it make you take a different look back at what you can work on and what you can change for the team?
Oh, most definitely. I feel like a game like that, any loss you learn to grow from. And a game like that, you learn to definitely grow from, not just individually, but also as a team. And I feel like you can take things from not just the defensive end, obviously, but also the offensive end as well. And we have to be able to absorb everything that did go wrong in that game against Iowa State and being able to put it into effect when we play them here next time.
Yeah, and kind of going off that, I mean, we were scoring kind of normal. If you looked at our quarters, we were scoring between 14 and 20 points, which is kind of on track to what we've been scoring. And so it was all the defensive end. Giving up 100 points, that's absolutely unacceptable, and, like, we're going to learn from it and grow from it.
Having had an opportunity to be able to see Baylor for the first time, what are you guys taking into this second time that you're facing them? Sid, we'll start with you.
They're physical. They're athletic. They get up and down. They have a really good high-low game. That's going to be a big key for us. We're going to pack it in. They're not super strong three-point shooters. So we're just going to lock into the game plan and just execute the best we can.
And then going off of Sid, obviously, we have to be able to lock into our game plan and our scout. But also, I mean, they're the number 1 team in the nation. Oklahoma State just played them extremely close yesterday, and that's what makes the Big 12 so competitive and so fun to play in. There's great teams all around, and just having the number 1 team in the country in our conference, that is amazing for us to be able to compete against. So coming up against Baylor, like Sydney said, they're very athletic. They have great skill. They're very talented. And it's not just their 5 starters. It's the people coming off the bench as well. So we have to be able to lock into what's presented to us and get ready these next few days for Saturday.
This is for both of you. I guess we'll start with Sid again. So how much more of an advantage do you get having just seen them so recently, Baylor? I know you talked about them being number 1, but it must be nice that you saw them a couple weeks ago. You kind of know what to expect.
Oh, for sure, yeah. I mean, the scout is not that much different than the first time we played them. It is really fresh. We do know what it's like to play them, and we also know we can compete with them. So that we're excited. It's going to be a great challenge for us, see where we're at.
Yeah, they have a great crowd. The atmosphere is amazing. And so it's going to be definitely a great thing and a great team that can be able to compete against.
This is also for both of you. We'll start with Zuri, but not just Baylor, but playing Texas just this last week so close. Another ranked team with some bigs, you know, similar in some ways to Baylor. Where does that go into the game plan and how you know you can compete with Baylor with how you did against Texas?
Obviously with Texas, I feel like we competed very hard and we battled very hard. But when it came down to the stretch, Texas made plays that we needed to do as well, and we didn't. So when it comes to Baylor, I feel like we need to be able to have the same momentum on the road that we do at home. We have a great fan base, and then they motivate us to great depths. But obviously we don't have that fan base at another team's place. So I feel like when we play Baylor, in comparison to Texas, we have to be able to bring our toughness on the road.
I think the biggest thing is going to be for us is to believe. I mean, I think we got to believe we can compete with Baylor, believe we can steal one from Baylor, and I think we're there. I think if we can buy in, believe, and do what we do, I think it's going to turn out well for us.
And Sydney, for you specifically, Texas and Baylor are near the bottom of the conference in three-point shooting. You being a three-point shooter, we saw against Texas how big that was in that first quarter, the first half that gave you guys that lead. Mm-hmm. How is that going to be similar against Baylor with the three-point shot?
The fun thing about three-point shots, one thing that I love so much about them, is they can be big momentum shifters. And so if we're all shooting the way we have been, we've been in the gym, we're going to get some momentum shifts, and we need those as many as we can get. So I'm excited. I want to shoot some threes.
She likes them whenever I pass them to her, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Those are her favorites.